Welcome to Peter and Ruffy's football show on PLZ Soccer's YouTube channel. Thank you very much for joining us. Delighted you could join us on this Friday, looking ahead to the weekend Scottish Premiership matches, but of course looking back at European football last night as well. I'm Peter Martin, Alan Ruff is alongside me, and Tam McManus. Delighted to have the guys with me. We'll also give you our predictions for the weekend games, and you can give us your comments on anything to do with your favourite team. We'd love to hear from you on what you think of results or emerging stories. Simple as that. And if you get a chance, please hit the subscribe button and join the football family on our YouTube channel. And if you hit the bell, you'll get all the notifications of when we are live. It's as simple as that. And the good news, if you actually download the PLZ Soccer app, it's fairly straightforward stuff. All you do with the PLZ Soccer app is go into the live, and every day you can watch us live on the show. It's as simple as that. So well worth doing that on the app as well as on YouTube too. So Ruffy's here, Tam's here. Let's look at, first and foremost, the Europa League result last night. It was absolutely fantastic for Rangers. Okay, they lost, but who cares, because they got the necessary goal and they're through into the quarterfinals, which we'll look at that draw shortly. Yeah,
well, an absolutely fantastic result on the night. You know, I think everybody was anticipating, you know, if they'd got an early goal, you know, how it was going to sort of pan out. But they weathered the storm, you know. Again, Alan McGregor, really important save at 1-0, you know, and then obviously Rangers got the goal that killed the game. But no, fantastic for the whole team, fantastic for Scottish football. We keep talking about the coefficient as well, so everybody's going to get a benefit of it, and we'll talk about the draw afterwards.
Yeah, absolutely. What did you make of the game, Tam?
Yeah, I thought Rangers got off to a poor start, obviously, losing the goal from the set piece. Rangers have lost a few recently, and listen, I think Red Star had their tails up at that point, but as Ruffy said, Alan McGregor again, over the two legs, he's saved a penalty, he's had 2 or 3 outstanding saves. And I don't think there was that much in the game. I think Rangers took their opportunities, Red Star possibly a little bit unlucky at times, but listen, I don't think there's any doubt that Rangers deserve to go through. And, you know, they look forward to the draw, we'll speak about it in a minute, but the draw's really opened up for them. And, you know, they'll be looking to try and get to the final, I think.
Yeah, Ruffy, what do you make of it? I mean, Atalanta or RB Leipzig will play Rangers or Braga, because the draw was made for the quarterfinals and the semi-finals. West Ham have Lyon, and the winner of that will play Barcelona or Frankfurt. But I'm looking at that and I'm saying to myself, Ruffy, I mean, Rangers or Braga was, if you were asking anyone just ahead of the draw, they would be looking and saying to themselves, well, that's exactly what you would want for Rangers.
Well, you would have wanted to stayed for the other three, stayed away for the other three in the bottom of that draw. You know, they're the 3 big ones, but I think there'll be many Rangers supporters as we speak down at the booking up Seville, you know, down at the travel agent. You know, I know you don't like to look ahead as a supporter, but I'd take a chance in that one, you know, that it's going to be a big occasion and big games.
Yeah, absolutely. Braga, of course, they played them before and knocked them out in European competition, Tam, so holds no fears for them.
Yeah, I think they were 2-0 down at home, weren't they? I think Braga got off to a flyer and Rangers come back and strongly won the tie. So I don't think I think they couldn't have handpicked a better draw. You know, if you're a Rangers supporter, you know, you're looking to get Braga, let's be honest about it. You're looking to stay away from West Ham, Barcelona, teams like that. And even the semi-final draw, you know, you're staying away from Barcelona and West Ham. So I think if you're a Rangers supporter, you're absolutely thrilled with that draw. And if you're a Rangers supporter that's on Rangers at big prices, fancy prices, 40, 50, 100, want to win the tournament, I think a wee bit of pee might have come out when you seen that draw, to be honest.
Yeah, not quite the clip I was looking for from him, to be honest with you, but nevertheless, it's one of those situations now where you couldn't, I mean, some Rangers fans will be thinking to themselves, Ruffy, hey, you know, let's pre-book hotels in Seville. Why not?
Yeah, I'm sure a lot of them will. I mean, it's a great venue. You know, it's easy to get to. You know, you can make a holiday out of it, and you just want to get to the final. Let's not talk about winning it. Let's just talk about getting there. And certainly the way that draw's come out, it looks fantastic for them.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, just after the result was confirmed last night, Giovanni Van Bronckhorst keen to emphasise that they could just take one game at a time, but obviously they want to go one stage for the semi-final. You couldn't even rule out the final.
It's a very proud moment, and the last 8, I think if you see all the teams already qualified, it's strong teams. But we just have to enjoy the next opponent and make sure we are ready and prepared to maybe even go a stage further. But the further you come, the more difficult it becomes.
Yeah, I'll tell you one thing though, that we highlighted it prior to the game, Tam. Again, 2 key players that I think deserve special mention. One of them was Ryan Kent, who again steps up to the plate, but McGregor.
Yeah, I think 2 of them are outstanding. Obviously, McGregor makes the saves, and you just expect that from him now. He's obviously made a couple of high-profile mistakes this season, and he's probably been written off at certain times by Rangers supporters, but when the big moments come in games, he's always up for it. He always makes those saves. And Ryan Kent, great finish, little deflection on it, but he took it well. I thought John Lundstrom was excellent as well. Thought he did a great game. And I thought Rangers, apart from losing that early goal, once the Rangers scored, the tie was dead for me. And I think they kept going red start to the end and obviously got the win on the night. But I think once Rangers got that goal with Ryan Kent, the tie was dead, and they just seen the game out comfortably.
I'll tell you what's a good thing from it all though, Ruffy, is the fact that Rangers managed to get through. You know that there was a situation where the Russians are not in the coefficient right now, so suddenly you're saying to yourself, well, Serbia is very much in the coefficient, but knocking out Red Star Belgrade, it now means that the winners of the Scottish Premiership for the next 2 seasons will automatically go into the group stages, which is fantastic news. It's a huge amount of money.
Yeah, it's a huge incentive as well. I don't think the Rangers players would have been thinking about that during the game. You certainly talk about it after it, but certainly you have to say Celtic then, because it's usually Celtic or Rangers that win the league. It's a fantastic carrot for them for the next 2 years to win this league and not to go through all these rounds before it, as we've seen, can be a hiccup.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll tell you one thing which I really enjoyed last night. It was one of those nights where if you are in the house on your own, Tam, and you've got the control in your hand, it was Rangers in the match against Red Star Belgrade, and then that just nicely moved into West Ham, which was a fabulous game. And if you were thinking, as so many people mentioned last night, if you were thinking of the ultimate script, then Yarmolenko scores the winning goal.
No, I watched it. It was a brilliant game, a tremendous atmosphere. It's probably the best atmosphere I've seen in that stadium. It's quite far away from the pitch, the stands, but the atmosphere, I think there was over 50,000 West Ham fans, only a couple of hundred Seville fans. And the guy was saying after 10 minutes, Seville have never lost 40 years since they've lost a tie after winning the first leg. So it was a big ask for West Ham, but West Ham totally dominated the game. They outplayed Seville, who are Europa League kings, and thoroughly deserve to get through. And they'll fancy themselves to win the Europa League as well, automatic into the Champions League. So I think West Ham will be taking it very seriously, as all the teams will. But I think particularly them, West Ham, they could still finish in the top 4, but it's a long shot. But if they win that, yeah, they go straight in the Champions League, which would be brilliant for David Moyes as well.
I tell you what was funny though, with Moyes, with every success that he delivers for West Ham, the voices from around Old Trafford seem to get louder, Ruffy, on that rash decision. 10 months to turn a club around, no backing from the chief executive at the time, who basically was totally ineffective. There's a lot of things that let David Moyes down at Old Trafford, but even though he hasn't bought anybody in that last window, he's got everything out of those players, and you could tell by the after-match interviews they want to play for him.
Yeah, I mean, it's a funny story for Davy. Obviously everything was fantastic till he went to Man United, and you've just documented there why it never went wrong. And every time he's went to a club, he's had to prove himself. In West Ham, the fans weren't too sure of him either, and every time he's went in there, he's had to get them all on board, and they certainly are on board now. I mean, for where they were to where they are now when he's come in, it's just a dramatic change altogether.
Yeah, absolutely. Quite a lot of people saying, well, if you knocked out Seville, surely West Ham are the favourites. Davy, as ever's having none of it.
No, because when you look at Barcelona, Leipzig, and a few others, I think you would have to say that there's a lot of big clubs in it. But we probably put out the team who's serial winners. When we got the draw, everybody said, tie of the round, probably the hardest tie there is. So that'll give us a lot of confidence.
Yeah, no surprise that they are confident, and they've got players in there. I don't know about you, Tam, but I wouldn't like to come up against Antonio in any game, even five-a-sides. He is a man mountain.
They were terrified of him, the Seville at the back. He caused them all sorts of problems. He's big, he's strong, he's quick. He's got an eye for goal. But West Ham thoroughly deserved it. What I was laughing at was the BT Sport guys after it, speaking about plucky West Ham, and taking down big Seville. They probably pay more money. They come to the most expensive league in the world, English Premiership, paying their players. I'd think guys like Declan Rice and that are on £100,000 a week at least.
Yeah.
So there's not exactly paupers in the football world. So whilst it was a great result for West Ham, it wasn't that much of a shock, when you're coming for the most expensive league in the world.
I'll tell you what is good, Ruffy. Yeah, great. That now means that you're going to get the winners of the Scottish Premiership going into the Champions League group stage in the next couple of seasons, which is absolutely fantastic financially. But when you look at the Champions League, the draw that was made there for the quarters and the semi-finals, boy, it's a tight one. I just wonder, I would love to have shown you PSG in it, Ruffy, but they're not in it.
No.
So it's Man City will play Atletico, Chelsea will play Real Madrid, and then the winner of Man City Atletico will play the winner of Chelsea Real Madrid. It's Benfica against Liverpool and Bayern against Villarreal, and they've been drawn. The winner of those two ties plays against each other in the semi-final. Absolutely magnificent stuff. I tell you, Liverpool must be looking there and thinking to themselves, semi-finals minimum, and then somehow you've got to try and engineer your way past Bayern.
Yeah, I'm sure you must have been pleased when Benfica came out. That was the first thing I thought of, And we're talking about Rangers getting a relatively, well, not hard draw, but certainly Liverpool got the prize draw out of that one. Obviously, Bayern sitting there waiting, but fantastic ties, and I don't know if you would think Man City, Chelsea. Yeah, I would go for that one. You know, there could be the three English clubs there in the semi-finals.
I think it will be. I think it wouldn't surprise me if Leicester win the Conference League, West Ham win the Europa League, and Man City, Liverpool win the Champions League. You obviously spoke about it for a number of years about English domination, but there's every chance he could have a clean sweep this season.
Yeah, I don't think it's good for the game. I think it's really worrying times when you have English football dominating so much, but nevertheless they've got the money and they're able to buy the cream of European and world talent. So give us your thoughts on that. How about Rangers fans out there? I know we've got a lot of Rangers fans who are absolutely delighted with the result and very complimentary about the performance of Rangers. Can they win the Europa League? Can they go all the way to Seville and win the tournament? You wouldn't write them off. They've certainly got players that are capable of doing it in European competition. Give us your thoughts on that. Can you go all the way if you're a Rangers fan there? We'd love to hear from you. And David says, final Rangers versus West Ham, bring it on. Can you imagine something like that happening? It certainly would be an eye-opener. Okay, that's the Europa League and the Champions League. Of course, we're back to domestic issues. So much to look forward to in the Scottish Premiership coming up over the weekend. And there it is, Ruffy. Aberdeen against Hibs, Celtic Ross County, Hearts against Livingston, St Johnstone take on Motherwell, it's St Mirren against Dundee United, and then on the Sunday it's Dundee against Rangers.
Yeah, I think there's going to be a couple of twists at the weekend. I think the first game in particular, the Aberdeen game, Hibs game, I know Tam was at that game and he was impressed with the result and impressed with the new striker up there. But I'm not being kidded on with that one. They were against 10 men for a long time in that game. I just think Aberdeen look as if they might just turn it a wee bit. I'm going to go for Aberdeen. I think that's
gone early. I wasn't even asked you yet. I was going to give you some team news and things.
No, you don't have to. I don't care what the team lines is. I'm going to.
They're removing his Hall of Fame picture as we speak at Easter Road.
It's got to change sometime for them. I keep saying it. They want to be out of that bottom six, and this is an ideal chance for me.
Well, that's a big turn up there, Tam, because quite simply, I'm looking at Aberdeen against Hibs. The stories around it before the two teams take to the field is Jim Goodwin clarified that there wasn't any ill feeling between himself and Scott Brown. Shake of the hands. He didn't really see any great coaching capacity for him there because Jim himself is very hands-on. And now he's given the captaincy back to Joe Lewis, the goalkeeper. So he's kind of cleared up that in case it kind of gathered any pace. But the one thing I would say is since his arrival, there's only 2 points that he's managed to get from the games that he's managed. It's 10 games since Aberdeen won in the league.
They're on a poor run. Really poor run. They've got to win this game and tomorrow to finish in the top 6. You know, I think that if they don't win the game and St Johnstone win, there'll be a few Aberdeen supporters starting to look over their shoulder. They're not that far clear and they can easily get sucked into it. So it's a big game for them. I think Hibs are currently sitting in fourth on goal difference. So listen, it's going to be a huge game. I think it'll be a draw. You know, I don't see Hibs have got a poor record at Butterfield. I can see them going up there and being solid but hard to break down, and maybe Melkerson nicking a goal. Again, his confidence will be up. So I think I've went for one each in that game with Hibs Aberdeen.
Yeah, no surprise, Jim Goodwin now just highlighting the fact that every game is so important for them.
Well, we're definitely going into the game in a positive mindset, and definitely, you know, believe that we're capable of winning the game. You know, we've got 3 huge games coming up. Managers talk about cup finals and the likes, and these next 3 games are what they are, in my opinion. You know, but it's starting on Saturday. We can't think about the next 2. We've got to focus on Hibs on Saturday, knowing that it's a tough game, knowing that they're a decent team.
Yeah, every game's a cup final now, and I think he'll be throwing down the gauntlet, because if they should lose these next 3 games, you know, suddenly St Johnstone, I think St Johnstone are capable of a move. I don't think Dundee are capable of a move.
No, I think the Aberdeen players will know exactly what's at stake here. It's near the end of the season. There'll be some people looking for new contracts, and I think we all know that he's going to bring in his own players, so they'll be playing for their livelihoods. So you would expect them to, you know, buckle down and get them the result that they want. You know, I mean, they are a big club. They don't deserve to be down there where they are just now, but it's their own fault that they're there.
Yeah.
I actually don't buy into the departure of him and Brown was a nice handshake and cheerio.
No, you think there's a wee bit about it?
Well, if he's pulling Scott Brown into a room and saying, hey, you're not doing any more coaching and you're not going to be playing as much as what you were, I don't think somebody like Scott Brown would take that lightly.
I don't think that was a conversation.
Yeah.
What was it?
Okay.
Well,
No?
come on now. Come on now.
I think it was pretty amicable.
Yeah.
What I hear, yeah.
Yeah, well, there you are, which is great. The one thing I would say, if it is, I mean, I just don't get the sense from Scott that he would want to cause a stir when he's 36 years of age, and you know he knows that he was there with his friend and has the chance to do the coaching. It didn't quite all work out the way he wanted. I've got Aberdeen to win 1-0. Yeah,
I've got Aberdeen 2-1.
Yeah, Tam, what have you gone for?
I went for one each.
Yeah.
Could be a turning point, that.
Yeah.
What's Tam Cowan went for? He's red hot.
Well, he is red hot. I'll just tell you right now what Tam's gone for 0-0. But the one thing I was going to say to you is you've got Clark, McGuinness, McGinn back in training. So players are coming back for Sean Maloney slowly but surely.
Yeah.
I'd like to see Newell up at full speed.
Yeah, they're starting to get bodies back, and I think that's crucial. I think they've been decimated by injuries. I think he's been plodding away. They've been difficult to beat. They've struggled to score, but I think they've found a new hero. I like the look of this lad Melkerson. Yeah. I really like the look of him, and if you give him the service, his movement, Jasper as well, Hibs all of a sudden feel looking as if they could here for now to next year to no score. And they look lively up front.
And you've only went one each?
I went one each.
Oh.
Yeah, okay.
They'll be looking for your Hall of Fame picture to take down.
Yeah,
They'll look for a while.
Yeah.
Oh, a shame it's in the toilet.
Hey, Tam, at least you played for Hibs for a number of years. 7 years?
125 games.
Yeah,
wow.
Some people would
25 good ones.
Well, I think you're underselling yourself. Some people would break their right arm that's a new statement, isn't it? Give their right arm to play for Hibbies, to play professional football. So I think you should be proud of it. Anyway, apart from anything else, what do you think of that game? Who's going to win it? Celtic against Ross County. Now, the big story here, Ruffy, is quite simply that if they can get the win, suddenly the pressure's back on again, because you're looking at a situation where Celtic could go 6 points clear before Rangers head up to Dens Park to take on Dundee.
Yeah, I think if Celtic win the game, I get where you're coming for pressure, but not playing Dundee at Dundee, you know, I think that's a given, that game. You know, I can't, in my wildest dreams, think that that's going to be a hiccup, you know, so Celtic have to go about their job. Ross County are a difficult team at home, away from home, not as much, so I think Celtic, with the rest that they've had, you know, that they should win this one.
Yeah, no surprise, Tam, that Celtic will be red hot favourites for this one. There was actually a sighting of Kyogo training on his own, albeit, but nevertheless, suddenly we thought he was off ski. Nobody had seen him, but suddenly he's back there at training, and I think Celtic fans will get a lift from that.
Yeah, I think he's back in light training. You could see him in the background, but what I would say is a little bit of caution with that. As a guy who's come back from hamstring injuries myself, there's a big difference between just jogging and doing a little bit then you're asked to open up and go full pace. So that will be the tester for him. It's great news for Celtic supporters that he's even back training. A lot of people, myself included, thought he was going to be missing for the full season. So if he can come through that, opening your legs up in full pace, 3/4 pace, and then he can get back into the Celtic squad, I think that would give them a massive lift, because I think he'd get straight into the team. I know Giacomakis has scored a few goals. Kyogo's the #1 striker at Celtic.
Yeah. Of course, it is enormously important, Ruffy, for Celtic, because they're playing on the Saturday. It's been a while since they've got a chance to crank it up against Rangers, but it's also important because this is the one game before you get to the derby.
Mm-hmm. And they nearly slipped up the last time when they were going to get advantage. They left it pretty late. But I wouldn't think that would be the case this time. I think Ross County have come on leaps and bounds. There's no doubt about that one. But I think Celtic would eventually wear them down. I can't remember the score I went with. I think it was 3-0. I went for Celtic, But I think we have to watch with the wee man, because if there's any sign of he's 100% fit, he might get drafted into that Japanese international, and that'd be 3 of them away. So I think I'd be hiding the 40s and just letting them train somewhere else, and then saying, he's a week away.
Yeah, I know you've got 3-0, and we mentioned Kyogo, but there's also another bonus. Ange Postecoglou has David Turnbull back in the ranks.
Absolutely, yeah, he was fantastic for us first half of the year, and disappointing for him that he got a fairly significant injury that has kept him out for a while. But he's worked hard in rehab, and I know he's itching to get back out there. He's been training really well the last sort of 7-10 days, and I probably went a bit conservative with him. Could have maybe thrown him in last week, but watching him train, he's ready to go.
So he's ready to go. So that's another bonus. He's very much the forgotten man as well, wasn't he?
Yeah, he is, and I think Postecoglou really likes him. I think he played him every game. He was a regular starter under him. I think he's a very talented player, David Turnbull. I think he's got a big future ahead of him, and I think he's a big boost. He's got energy. He'd be bursting to get back in. Hatate, for me, has looked a little bit leggy, a little bit tired over the last couple of games. Rogic again, hot and cold. So I think the more competition in there, the better for Celtic. And I think he'd come in and be pushing for a starting place.
Yeah. Okay, I've got 2-0 Celtic against Ross County.
I've got 3-1. I think Ross County will score. I've been impressed with Ross County. I think they're the third highest scorers in the league, or fourth. So I think they'll score, but it'll be 3-1.
Okay, there's your opinion on Celtic against Ross County. What do you make of that? Celtic fans, how heartened are you by the fact that Kyogo spotted in training, albeit on his own? Give us your thoughts on that. You can download the PLZ Soccer app. You'll get all the breaking stories across Scotland, the UK, Europe, and of course globally. And you can watch the programme live. You can also go to our YouTube channel, PLZ Soccer, and hit the subscribe button as well. We'd love you to do that. Thanks for sticking with us. Thanks for so many of you posting messages about your team, and of course lots of compliments about Rangers and getting through to the quarterfinals with the semi-final carrot dangling in front of them if they can get past Braga. Okay, on to Hearts against Livingston. Hearts really, I think, delighted that they're battling in two fronts, because had they been out of the cup, Ruffy, I think it would have become fairly flat, because they're just cemented in third place.
Yeah, they are, but it was impressive at the end of the day, beating St Mirren. There's a couple of subs come on, changed the game. Livy are the sort of a dark horses this year. I worry about Livy when they go somewhere and you know you're going to go on home win. And then you think about the times that they've went to these places and got something out of the game. I'm going to stick with Hearts. I think the momentum's there. Yeah, they've obviously got third place. I don't think anybody will catch them there, but they've got to keep the momentum going, and the players will be playing for the Scottish Cup to get in that lineup. So that's what they're playing for as well.
Yeah, that's the big carrot, isn't it now? Managers, as soon as you get to semi-finals, they start saying, by the way, you want in the team for this game? You need to show up. Yeah,
there's two big derby games coming up. There's one in the league, I think, at the start of April, and then obviously the semi-final. So big games coming up, and your managers can always use that. Get yourself in the team, keep the jersey for the big games coming up. And I think Hearts have been pretty consistent at home this season. They haven't lost many games. Livingston, I think, drew with them in the Scottish Cup 0-0 there and won the replay. So I think that I'd fancy Hearts. I think Hearts have won a lot of games 2-0 at home this season, and I think I went for 2-0 again.
Yeah, well, they'll be hoping for the win. Robbie Nielsen, even the Hearts manager, concedes that had they not had the semi-final against Hibs to look forward to, it would have been difficult trying to get the players up. It could have been an anti-climax.
In the Cup, and I think it was an important one for us because, you know, if we hadn't won that game, we'd be sitting 13 points clear in the league, you know, and almost an anti-climax to the season because we were pretty secure in that position. So the Cup gives us that extra motivation to continue the form in the league, you know, try and go as far as we can in the Cup.
Yeah, they want to go as far as they can in the Cup, possibly all the way to the final. But I don't know about you, Ruffy, but you can't write off Livingston. I just think they've been absolutely superb this season, and that's what's just leading me to believe that they're more than capable of going to Tynecastle and getting a draw. I've got it 1-1.
Yeah, I can see why you would think that way, you know, but I just think Hearts have got goals in them, and they're all chipping in now. I do think Livy will score, you know, because Hearts are losing goals at home. They're winning games, but they're still conceding, so I think I've went 2-1.
Yeah, okay. Tam?
2-0 to Hearts. 2-0.
2-0.
Comfortable.
Yeah, comfortable. I love that one. I love a bit of a comfortable that Tam's saying there.
It's a Ruffy phrase, isn't it? 2-0 comfortable.
Absolutely. Anyway, you can give us your thoughts on that one, Jambos out there. Livy fans playing well, certainly going to Tynecastle without any great fear. St Johnstone against Motherwell is a match that we are really looking forward to as well, because there is just, apart from St Johnstone's predicament, Motherwell are part of a group that are in that middle section that suddenly their whole season, you know, it could be going well, it could be flat as a pancake. It's all in the balance, and it really is down to what they do over the next few weeks. We sent our reporter out there to Fir Park. Kerry Pollock was finding out what the Motherwell manager had to say about this game against St Johnstone.
Thanks, Peter. Graham Alexander just out of his press conference here today, looking forward to the game tomorrow against St Johnstone, where a crucial 3 points will be up for grabs for both teams, as just 1 point separates 4th and 9th place in the Premiership table. Alexander says wins are a must to get a position in the top 6 before the split.
We have to come out of this with wins. You know, we can't, you know, in the next 3 games draw our way to the top 6. I think we're going to have to take some points with wins. But who knows what that target will be? Because I'll be honest, I ain't got a clue who everyone else is playing in the next 3 games. I'm only targeting our games and St Johnstone tomorrow.
Midfielder Dean Cornelius says that he's looking forward to the challenge tomorrow against St Johnstone, and admits that games between now and the split are winnable games for the team.
Yeah, we're not daft. We understand we've still got 3 games. These 3 games are massive, we know that, but they're all winnable games. We go into the game preparing mentally and on the pitch. We know that we can do it, we believe in ourselves, we can do it, we can take the points, and so it's just up to if we can go do it on the day.
A full card in the Scottish Premiership this weekend. Celtic will host Ross County, whilst Rangers head to Dens Park to take on Dundee. Other games this weekend include St Mirren and Dundee United. Hearts will host Livingston, and Hibs will face Aberdeen at Pittodrie. Action at both ends of the table this weekend. It'll prove to be an exciting one.
Yeah, well done to Kerry, and thanks to Bob the Legend White, who says, Peter, you've found an absolute diamond with your female reporter. Fantastic. There you are. We're just bringing through the youth policy, Tam. That's what we're doing.
That's Kerry's dad there.
Yeah, it could be, boys.
Brother or boyfriend,
uncle, cousins, the lot. That's
everybody on there, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. You just steam in with everybody, Ruffy, don't you? But nevertheless, yep, great stuff there from Kerry. Of course, listen, St Johnstone, 10-game run without a league win. It's up there as the worst alongside Aberdeen.
Yeah, they're running out of time. I think this might be the one that could give them a wee chance. You know, obviously Motherwell going to be minus their centre half who got sent off last week. They didn't really trouble Hearts, but they were down to 10 men. St Johnstone, it's got to turn sometime. You know, there has been evidence of maybe it's going to happen, maybe it's no. I think tomorrow it's got to happen. Somebody's got to come up with something special, and they've got to win the game.
What have you gone for?
2-1.
I've gone for St Johnstone to win 1-0, Tam. What do you make of that? 1-0?
I fancy St Johnstone strongly tomorrow. I totally agree with Ruffy. I feel as if now's the time for them to turn the screw on Dundee. I think they'll look at Dundee probably get nothing on Sunday, they'll think we can start to stretch away here and maybe look at the teams above us. So I think St Johnstone will win the game. I think I've went for 2-1.
Yeah, okay, so we're going for the Saints on this, and Tam Cowan did point out whenever a team needs a win, it's usually Motherwell they have next in the calendar. So who are we to argue with Tam on this one? Okay, still games that we want to talk about. 2 games in particular, St Mirren against Dundee United. And I don't know about you, Ruffy, but no surprise, actually, you mentioned it. I might as well get your thoughts on it. Conor Ronan in the Republic of Ireland squad.
Yep, Stephen Kenny, I had a long chat with Stephen after he was over. He picked a game to watch. Jake Doyle-Hayes had a stinker, but Conor Ronan scored a screamer, scored the winning goal that day, and he was really impressed with Conor Ronan. I think he watched him again against Hearts last week, and he's in the squad, so I think he thoroughly deserves that, Conor Ronan. As I said, I think there'll be clubs, Aberdeen, Hibs, Hearts would all take him. No disrespect to St Mirren. I think if Wolverhampton Wanderers were going to let him out on loan again, I think all 3 of them would be interested. I think he's a terrific player. So we'll just have to wait and see, but he thoroughly deserves to be in the Island squad. He scored a lot of great goals this season.
He's been a really good player to watch as well, Ruffy.
Yeah, he's been super, and he's one of these players that's always running about the 18-yard box, always prepared to have a shot, which I like, and that's what I like Turnbull at Celtic. I think he's the same. And yeah, he will be a big player. I was impressed with St Mirren last week, 2 each. I think they thought they maybe were in with a chance, but obviously the subs come up and won it for Hearts. So I'm going to stick with St Mirren here. I just think St Mirren at home, Dundee United, I think they've got a goal in them, but I don't think they've got 2 goals in them, but they are difficult to beat, if you let them score. But I think I've went St Mirren 2-1.
Well, St Mirren, if they can get that win, the next 3 games, really, it's where Stephen Robinson wants to see his team step up to the plate, because it could be top 6 for them.
Very much, it's all to play for the top 6. Every manager will be saying the exact same. We have no divine right to be in it. We haven't been in it for a long time. We're not a top 6 side. The balance for this season between 6 and 7 clubs is incredibly close. So it's now time to step up. It's these 3 games that'll make or break whether you make the top 6 or not, and then it's the build for next season again. So as I say, there's a short-term goal, and then when we get that and know where we are, it's a case of building for next season again as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's incredible, but that win up at Dundee just filled them with the confidence, and I thought they had a really good performance against Hearts as well. They made a real game of it.
No, I think they're slowly but surely improving under Robinson, and I think it'll be a draw. I think that'll be a tight game. Dundee United, as Ruffy says, they don't score a lot of goals, but they're pretty solid at the back. Nobody really gives Dundee United a tanking. St Mirren, again up at Dundee, you're at the game, solid at the back. Conor Ronan, moment of magic. I think I've went for 1 each. I think both teams, will be desperate to win that to get into the top 6, and I think neither will. I think it'll be 1 each.
Interestingly enough, though, Ruffy, I'm looking at Dundee United. They've dropped off a wee bit. They haven't had a win in 5 games. Yeah,
well, I obviously saw them first hand against us in the Scottish Cup, and they won 1-0. I wasn't particularly impressed with them that day at all. And maybe that's the form that they're in. They look like a side who don't want to get beat, but don't want to push forward and win the game. That's what I got for that game when we played them. And the games after that, they're all, they don't push forward and take chances. So, yeah, and I think that St Mirren will win tomorrow.
Yeah, okay. On the Saturday, all those fixtures, I've got St Mirren to win 2-1. What did
1
you go
each
for there?
for me, 1 each.
A draw. But Dundee against Rangers on the Sunday. Sometimes people would go through the old cliches of saying, well, Rangers coming off the Europe and they'll be tired. There could be a chance here. Not with Dundee. I think Rangers will go up there and batter them again.
Yeah, I think it's difficult to see where Dundee's next win's going to come from. Next, point even. They're in a very bad run at the minute. Rangers have got a big squad. They can chop and change it. Scott Wright come on last night. They've got Alec Lowry, Ramsey's there. They can change the goalkeeper if they want. They can change it the back 4. They can bring, Barisic and guys like that. So they've got a very, very strong squad, and they've got guys fresh and champing at the bit to come in. So I think Rangers will make 4 or 5 changes, and I think they'll be too strong for Dundee again. Dundee will battle away, but looking at the cup tie last week, 3-0 could have been 6 or 7, to be honest with you. So,
do you think your old team are gone?
It's hard to see. It's hard to see where they're going to win a game. It really is, and I just don't get the spirit there and the sense of they're all together. And I think they're in real trouble. I think Dundee fans are when the new manager coming in. I don't think they were happy with the last manager, James McPake, getting sacked. new manager coming in, I don't think a lot of them wanted him there. Results haven't been there. I just think it's not a great place to be at the minute, Dundee, in terms of the supporters and in and about the club, probably.
Yeah, Rangers, Aberdeen, and then Dundee United, Ruffy.
Yeah, and all the games we've been talking about, we've been identifying individual players in each of these teams who have done something this year. There's nobody at Dundee, jumps out and hits you, and then they've lost the big centre half, Ashcroft, he's out as well. It's just not looking good for them at all. I think Rangers will chop and change. But as Tam says, I don't care who they throw in. This would be the biggest upset of the season if Dundee were to take in out of that game.
Yeah, Mark McGee will be back trackside. He served the ban. It's been a long time, six games. I don't even think he thought he was going to be back in Scottish football to serve that penalty.
No, it's a long time. And although sitting up the stand, I don't mind sitting up in the stand. I think you see the game better sitting up, right at the front, than standing at a dugout, because you don't see the distances or the levels or the tackles. I think you see it better sitting up there. So it might give him a wee insight into what the difference is of the two.
Yeah, John Park says on our live feed, Rangers should batter Dundee. Would love to see Diallo and Ramsey play a bigger part soon. Still no Ramsey involved in the European game there. Was there a need to put him on?
Yeah, I don't think there was. I think he'll play on Sunday. I think he'll definitely start. He played 70 odd minutes last week. I think they're just looking after him. I think it's a perfect game for him to play on Sunday. Rangers will dominate the ball. Dundee will sit back. It's up to him to be that little bit of creativity in the middle of the pitch. Diallo will play. He could bring Roof in. They've got plenty of players there. Scott Wright to come in, so I don't see anything other than a comfortable win. I think I went for 3-0 to Rangers.
Yeah, I've got Rangers to win 2-0, Ruffy.
I went 2-0 as well.
Okay, you can give us your thoughts on that. Stephen McNeil says Dundee 5, Rangers 0. Stephen, just sometimes it's not good to hit Southern Comfort so early, especially when the sun's out, Ruffy. Is that fair?
Oh, the sun's out, it's magnificent, isn't it? It was up the town centre this morning, it was mobbed.
Yeah, you just got up
B&Q was mobbed.
Just for a saunter?
No, the garden, the sun's up, gardening, you've got to get the flowers and the pots and everything.
Yeah, Tam and I are thinking you got a monoblock your garden.
It's a big garden he's got there.
Oh, absolutely, he's looking out over the entire area of Cumbernauld. Just one little other thing that I think is a good point to make, Tam. Some news emerging that if Rangers do indeed pull out of this Sydney Cup because of all the consternation surrounding it, it's going to cost them £1 million penalty. There's a hefty one, isn't it?
It's a disaster. I mean, the supporters seem to be really upset about it. I don't understand it at all. I think Rangers, they've made it clear that they need the money. It's more than they would get, for probably winning the Premier League. So, £3 million plus. You're talking about a penalty now. Supporters, we've seen it with Celtic. Sometimes with the guy, is it Higgins? Sometimes supporters can get their way. They can really put a lot of pressure on the board, and it seems to be happening over the other end of the city with this friendly. But I don't see why Rangers wouldn't play that, but if they do pull out it, it could be a disaster for them. It cost them money as well.
Yeah, I kind of summed it up, Ruffy. We're now in a situation sometimes where I think Celtic and Rangers, the tail's wagging the dog.
Yeah, and I mean, Celtic are going to go. There's no doubt about it. If Rangers don't go, they'll find somebody else. Somebody else will be happy to take £3 million. But they seem to be looking at it legally, how they can get out of it. But depends what it says in these contracts. Sometimes you can't get out of it. And it'll be interesting to see what the Rangers board do. They're caught in the middle here. I don't know how many supporters we're talking about, Rangers supporters who don't want them to go and the rest who don't really care. So it's a hard one for them to sit down and discuss and decide, are we winning enough fans over, or are we losing? How many? They've got to come to that decision. How many fans are they upsetting here, and how many fans don't really care?
Well, I'll tell you, I would suggest to you that it's the minority that's worth worth actually just saying, no, wait a minute, you calm down. This is a business. Yeah. This is a commercial venture. This is £3 million. This is a club that's had no credit at the banks and has had to rely on Rangers fans with lots of money with deep pockets to take shares, diluting the shares consistently to make sure Rangers have the financial backing. So I'm sorry, if you and that small group of people who want to actually drag the club further into the dark ages, no, we're going to go and play in it. Who cares if you're playing Celtic thousands of miles away?
No, I don't get it. I don't understand it at all. And it seems to be the power of social media at the minute, and people, petitions and stuff like that, and fans groups and all this stuff, and supposedly they were giving some of the Rangers directors a bit of stick outside Dens Park last week. So listen, I think Rangers need to stand firm. I think the board need to stand firm, the directors, and they need to go, listen, you're right, this is a financial decision for the club, for the overall great of the club, and we're going to go there regardless.
We don't appreciate that. Pierre's already described, that where Rangers have been financially, £3 million could bring you quality players into the club.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, next season, the fans are getting the benefit of the £3 million, that you can attract a better player.
Yeah, absolutely. I hope the Rangers board look at the majority of sane thinking fans who just want to go out there, and lots of Aussie Rangers fans want to see, and somebody made a good point the other day there, Ruffy, never mind Aussie Rangers fans, lots of fans from near and far might be heading to Australia to actually say to themselves, hey, what a chance to go to Australia and see Rangers.
Yeah, I think there'll be a lot of Rangers supporters in the vicinity of Australia, maybe take a holiday, just to go and see the club where they've never ever seen, never had the chance to see the club. So yeah, for me it's a no-brainer, it's a packed stadium, 83,000 or whatever it is. It's just a gala experience.
Never mind that, Tom. We'd love to take a holiday out here as well and go and see an old firm game.
These Rangers are going to scupper it for us, these fans.
I was going to say, regardless of who's playing, you just think to yourself, well, great.
No, as Ruffy says, the expats out there, there'll be supporters of the club, desperate to see their club in the flesh. The guys who watch they got up at probably all sorts of times in the morning or night to watch. Over the last few years, they get to see them live. So, as I said, I hope the Rangers board of directors stand firm and they do, because I think it'd be great.
Travel for everywhere.
Yeah.
There'll be a Fiji supporters club, Rangers supporters club.
Yeah.
Tonga, these, New Zealand and all that.
That's fantastic that Ruffy That's amazing that you know.
He's done his research.
I mean, it's amazing he knows where all the loyal fans are. That's brilliant.
Just a guess.
There is. I bet you there is.
That's the only three countries he knows that he thinks are near or in the vicinity. Anyway, apart from anything else, listen, I love our football. You can give us your thoughts on it as well. Try and keep it decent. There's lots of people who want to give us their thoughts on the website and, of course, on the live feed on our YouTube. One of them actually downloads the app. Gary says, on the Old Firm game down under, to those Rangers and Celtic fans moaning about the Australia games for various reasons, get a grip and grow up. Scottish football hates itself to death sometimes with these clubs, and a vocal minority of their fans leading the charge. I can't imagine Hearts or Hibs having this trouble. That's Gary, who's a Rangers fan in Nashville, Tennessee. Thanks for that point, Gary. You're too sensible. I think that's the general feeling. God, Hearts and Hibs would bite your hand off for that, wouldn't they?
£3 million to go and play a game, basically a friendly game.
Yeah.
I think that'd be fantastic.
Absolutely. Listen, that's Scottish football for you. Don't forget, we'll get all the reaction from the managers and players on Monday's programme. If you want to join us, Tam will be back with us again, and Ruffy as well, and Alison McConnell, to look back over the weekend's Premiership. Hit the subscribe button and, of course, the bell, and you'll get all the notifications of the programmes that we have. Unique content. James McPake has been sitting down in a one-to-one with me to discuss his time at Dundee, what he's going to do in the future, some of the people that he'd like to thank along the way. An interesting chat with James. He's a big fan of the programme and has been for a number of years, and it was good to sit down and just get his thoughts on what the future holds for him now that he's no longer thinking about Dundee. That's a one-to-one. Pat Nevins on there, Gordon Strachan, you name it, all there for your entertainment if you join the football family on PLZ Soccer. Here's what's happening down south in England over the weekend. We've got English Premier League fixtures, and we've got the FA Cup quarter-finals. So it's Wolves, Leeds United, Aston Villa, Arsenal, Leicester versus Brentford, and Spurs against West Ham, which is going to be an absolute cracker to look forward to, as well as Dundee against Rangers on the Sunday. The FA Cup, Middlesbrough against Chelsea, Crystal Palace, Everton, Southampton, Man City, and Nottingham Forest against Liverpool, which just for me throws up great memories of the European Cup tie that they played against each other when Nottingham Forest knocked Liverpool out of the European Cup and eventually went on to win it. Great days. I think at the moment, though, the main thing that quite a few Liverpudlians will be thinking about is, can we really win the quadruple?
Yeah, that's what usually happens this year. If it's not them, it's Chelsea or Man City or and it's never. I think it's been done.
No,
I think it's been done.
Man United came close, Ruffy, with the FA Cup, the League, and the Champions League.
But this FA Cup, you know, some of the teams that they put out right up until the quarter-finals, and it's not until the semi-finals that they get serious and start playing other first-team players, because they know what like a trip is, you know, for the final, you know. But just check Crystal Palace and Everton, man. Imagine one of the two are going to be in the semi-final.
Well, that'd be great, Ruffy.
Oh, it'd be great for them.
I mean, Everton have had a torrid season. I mean, I think Frank Lampard's the happiest guy I've met ever to have broken his hand celebrating a last-minute goal, Tam.
That was brilliant. I seen that game. You know, down to 10 minutes, could be a big turning point for Everton. You know, getting that win. But you know, if I look at a team like Crystal Palace, I think Crystal Palace are safe. Surely they play their absolutely strongest team now and try and win the FA Cup. You know, for their supporters. You know, they can't get down. Everton, you'd understand them in the relegation battle. Liverpool, Man City in a title race. But there's teams there, Southampton even. You know, surely you play your strongest team now and you try and get to the final.
Yeah, well, there is a bit of glory in it. I have to say, though, I've been impressed, Ruffy, I don't know about you, I've been impressed with Patrick Vieira and what he's done at Crystal Palace.
Yeah, quite quietly he's went about his job, you know, that not a lot of money spent compared to the teams around about him, but, you know, he's a quality player, and you would like to think that the players would rub off with a manager like that, and the respect that he must get because of the player that he was.
Yeah, absolutely. What do you think? Who's going to make it into the latter stages of the FA Cup? Interesting enough, no surprise, Ruffy, I'm going to go for Liverpool to win, Man City to win. I'm going to take Crystal Palace to beat Everton, and then Chelsea obviously to thump Middlesbrough.
Yeah, I would probably agree with that. I mean, it depends what sides the big teams put out, really.
Yeah. What are you going for, Tam?
Yeah, I think I'd agree with that. I think the big two will win. Palace, Everton. I think Palace will go strong. Everton will be concentrating on the league now. So I think, yeah, I'd probably agree with you there.
Yeah. What about Spurs against West Ham? I mean, I love the fact that Declan Rice and all quite a few of the guys have said to David Moyes, "Can we have today off?" And he was like, "No chance. Everybody all in. Everything's all geared towards coming up against Spurs."
No, they're still in with a shout of getting the top four. West Ham. They've got a couple of games in hand. I think Tottenham, you know, obviously a great result against Everton in the last game. Harry Kane flying at the minute, you know, one of the best strikers in Europe without doubt. So I think Spurs will beat West Ham. I think that game last night, extra time, you know, the atmosphere, I think they're taking a lot out of West Ham, and West Ham went very strong last night. You know, they played their full team basically, so I think Spurs will be fresher, and I think Spurs will beat them.
Here's a great line, Ruffy, and you'll probably be aware of this, from Robert Robertson, who says, "Brilliant show today, Peter. We had a whole programme about football, no ramblings about other things." You know, Ruffy, we do honestly try and talk about great players, great games, you know, bit of nostalgia thrown in, bit of banter, bit of heckling each other, and then, of course, every now and then we read out some messages. That's what we want to do, but unfortunately, I don't know. I mean, maybe we're insular in our thinking. I don't know another country like this country that can just give you complete and utter lunacy, which is sometimes what derails us.
Yeah, I mean, that's not just Glasgow environment, but I mean Edinburgh as well. If I were sitting through in Edinburgh, I'm sure we would be getting the same. You know, it's just the way. No, you get the same banter. Maybe not as serious as some of the stuff that you're reading.
Ruffy, I lived in Edinburgh for 12 years, and I'll tell you, it's nothing like the west of Scotland.
Oh, no, I'm not saying it's innate, but I'm saying there will be instances of that kind of.
Are you a Jambo or a Hibby? I mean, honestly, that's the great thing about it. When you're through there and you live there and you get to know the people. I just thought I thoroughly enjoyed it for the fact that, are you a Jambo or a Hibby, and you know, that was it. You know, if there's any lunacy, I didn't see it.
It's not as poisonous as it is through here. Nowhere near it. You know, I've obviously played with Hibs. You played with Hibs as well, and I stayed through there. And you could get in a night out and you wouldn't get pelters. You know, imagine the Celtic Rangers players out in Glasgow and that, you know, they get abuse, dogs abuse after the supporters.
Yeah.
But in Hibs, you know, I didn't get much abuse for the Hibs fans.
Because you were a fast runner. To be fair, Ruffy, I'm going to ask you now, 35 years ago today, I like it's nothing to do with you, Cam, your Jets.
I'm trying to get the date.
35 years ago today, a guy from my village scored an important goal in the Nou Camp. So there you are.
85, 86, 87, 87.
From your village.
Yes.
Ian Ferguson.
Yes. Well done, Tam. Well
I'll keep
done.
you right, Ruffy.
Dundee United.
Yeah, Dundee United in the new camp defeated Barcelona by 2-1.
He was a big centre forward, the header.
John Clark.
John Clark.
Yeah.
He scored the winner, didn't he?
No, he scored.
He scored the first goal, didn't he?
He scored the first goal for Dundee United. And Ian Ferguson scored the second with a lovely cross from one of my favourite players at that time, Paul Sturrock.
Wow.
I thought Sturrock was a great player, Ruffy. Did you like him?
Oh, magnificent. You know, absolutely. I think he'd rubber legs. You know, you always used to think he was going to fall down, but he never. He just kept going, picking himself up. But for me, it was their defence.
Yeah.
Their defence was
Malpass,
superb.
Hegarty, Neary.
Hegarty.
Holt.
Fantastic.
I mean, they were a fantastic side, but that you mentioned there, he had rubber legs, but he needed, legs, ankles of steel.
He could never have played with the modern day football boots. The football boots that they wear now. The gloves.
Why?
His Achilles, his tackles were behind. His legs wouldn't have stood it.
Yeah,
if they didn't have the protection of the old style boots, Adidas or Puma or whatever it is.
There's the type of player, Tam, that could take a ball in anywhere. From a throw in, he would just shield it, turn. He was absolutely fantastic. Great player.
It must have been so enjoyable for you to be around back then when Dundee United and Aberdeen were dominating Europe. Obviously before I was born in 81, so I was never seen any of that, so it must have been thrilling for Scottish football to see clubs like that. I mean, I can only imagine it now. Imagine Dundee United going to the new camp and beating Barcelona. You'd think you'd get sectioned, so must have been a great time for Scottish football back then.
Yeah, some people are saying what village. York Hill, which was quite a great village for talented footballers, Ruffy, I have to tell you.
Yeah, you
were
rhyming out 3 or 4, I think. More than 3 and 4, yeah.
Ronda.
Yeah.
Ronda Jones played over 100 times for Scotland as well. Lots of really good, talented footballers.
There was another district in Glasgow, Drumchapel used to turn it. Loads of players.
View Park. Of course, the area itself is just arguably the best area at Lanarkshire for the most talented footballers of all time. No argument there. I don't want to. We haven't got a 2-hour show for me to rhyme them off, but I've got them all ready in case you wanted to pick an argument, Tam. Just out of curiosity, for the benefit of Dundee United fans who watch the show, listen to this: Thompson, Holt, Malpass, Jim McInally, John Clark, Davy Neary, Ian Ferguson, Gallagher, Hegarty, Sturrock and Redford. And Ian Redford had such a lovely, quality left foot on him as well.
I used to like the wee midfield player that looked like Gordon Strachan.
Graham Payne.
Graham Payne, yeah.
Yeah. He was a good player as well. Fantastic. What a team that was, Tam. Honestly, you would never believe it. Aberdeen and Dundee United could regularly go down and batter Rangers and Celtic.
Brilliant. Must have been. Was that still 2 points for a win back then?
Yeah. Absolutely.
And the pass-back rule was still there.
Yeah. And here's another, for Ruffy. Here's another name I'm going to throw at you that's not in that lineup there that you would have come up against. Ralph Milne.
Ralph Milne went to Man United.
Yeah.
I move that, is it?
Yeah, absolutely. He was a good player at Dundee United. It didn't quite work out for him at United, but nevertheless, 35 years. Where has the time gone? Absolutely incredible. Listen, the highlight of the programme is undoubtedly the heroics of Rangers. They are into the quarterfinals. They'll play Braga, and it is going to be incredible. And as I look at the old fixtures, I think the Europa League, Braga against Rangers, the first leg will be 7th of April, the second leg the 14th of April.
How does that fit in with the Old Firm, the Celtic game? Is that before that or round about that?
They've got there's a triple header coming, and then they've got them in between.
Right.
So it's going to be a
hectic schedule for Rangers.
This is a massive 4 weeks for Rangers, isn't it?
It's quite. Listen, I think the Celtic fans would have been delighted that Rangers get through, not only for the coefficient, but it's going to be a big ask for them to go in high tempo on a Thursday. Maybe come back and play Celtic on a Sunday. Thursday again, Sunday. It's going to be difficult for Rangers. I know they've got a big squad, but it gives Celtic an advantage, surely.
But Ruffy, this is when, I don't know if you agree with me on this, but this is when Giovanni Van Bronckhorst, surely in a game like Dundee, it starts to utilise people because he needs the squad to step up.
Yeah, I mean, as Tam said, they've got the squad. There's no doubt about it. It's just whether he can, expect the fringe players to go on right at the very start, and get in top. So he's got to make a choice. Does he play his best team early on, get 2-0 up, haul them off, because you're allowed, 5 now? You're allowed practically nearly half a team, go 2 or 3-0 up and just hike them off, but I think you've got to get the game done and dusted.
Yeah, absolutely. And for the benefit of our younger viewers, it's great that Ruffy just brings in some great old Scottish words that we haven't heard in a while. Just hike them off. Absolutely.
He's hiked a few shots after tea and I've been playing them.
Absolutely. Brilliant, Ruffy. Absolutely fantastic. Listen, have a great weekend if you're going to a football match. Remember, behave yourself, support your team. It's all about enjoying the football match. Don't get into trouble. And hopefully you can join us on Monday again, when, with a bit of luck, we'll all be back to digest it all. This title race is just hotting up. It's absolutely incredible at the top end, and of course also at the bottom end as well. We'll react to that on Monday, but don't forget, if you get a chance, hit the subscribe button on PLZ Soccer's YouTube channel, and also hit the bell and you'll get all the notifications as well. There's James McPake, we've just released a 1-to-1. Pat Nevin's still up there, and there's more interesting interviews ahead, and we've got the Scottish Cup semi-final previews to look forward to as well. It's all in the mix. You get it all here on PLZ Soccer, and if you get a chance, please download the app and you'll get all the breaking stories from Tam, from Ruffy, and from myself, Peter Martin. Thanks to you for watching.